This year's Magical Girl May is a little bit different because this year I'm doing Oops All Madoka. We are finally getting the Walpurgisnacht Rising movie later in August, and I'm so excited, so I just want to spend the whole month just gushing about Madoka Magica stuff. And to kick things off, I want to take a look at the Walpurgisnacht Rising trailers. I'm not usually much into theorizing, but I'll make an exception this time to help get hyped for the movie. It's going to be tricky, because just from watching the trailers, it's hard to tell what is and isn't going to be normal for this setting. Madoka, the original show, already had bonkers architecture for their odd, futuristic-esque setting. But then after the Rebellion movie, when Homura reshapes time again, the setting is even crazier. Colors and locations don't necessarily make sense, so for here, when I see the beautiful tea party garden, or the carnival, or mommy in this 10 out of 10 bear ear headband, I'm just sitting here like, well, is this a labyrinth, or just what normal carnivals and lounge areas look like now? I think some things are just going to look quote-unquote weird here. Like, look at Kyoko's amazing-looking Choco Taco. I think this is a Choco Taco. I want it to be a Choco Taco. I think this is just going to be what normal Choco Tacos look like in this setting, you know? So parsing through the imagery is tough because it's hard to tell what's supposed to feel stand out. I guess I'll start with what I do know. There's several shots that include teeth and this newt-like magic thing on Homura. Both of these details are carry-on themes from Homura's design elements from her witch form. Teeth and newts are used as symbolic concepts for various witch-like or Bible-like themes. I go into more detail with that old video I did talking about the Holy Quintet's witch form designs. The newt thing just seems to be a cool visualization of Homura's new god magic, devil magic, I suppose, is how I should word it. There's one shot where we see someone's arm is pinned down by a blade and the newt crawls into the wound and then a hardened shell cuts the blade away. It's unclear if this outcome is meant to be helpful, like getting rid of the blade is to free her hand, or if this brick-like thing is instead a more secure form of imprisonment. I can't tell whose arm this is for sure, but based on the flowiness of the sleeves, I'm guessing this is Homura in her fancy-dancy new dress. So I'm going to guess that this is a shot of Homura freeing her arm, and I'm going to guess that the sword comes from Sayaka. Because I have a theory that Sayaka is going to be the main adversary against Homura here. Let's be honest, Homura doesn't really like Sayaka. I wouldn't be surprised if there isn't a ton of resentment and jealousy towards her due to how close she was to Madoka before they became magical girls. Sayaka knows and remembers what Homura has done. Presumably Nagisa does too, due to them being Madokami's attendants. I'm unsure how much Mami and Kyoko remember though. I suspect a lot of this movie is going to be two things. First, Homura distracting the others and stopping Sayaka, or trying to stop Sayaka, or Sayaka trying to stop Homura. I suspect Homura will throw things at the girls to keep them busy and distance Sayaka away from the others. In the trailer, we see them talking about Sayaka spending so much time with non-magical girls, so I think Sayaka is mostly going to be acting on her own. I think maybe Homura might trap Sayaka somewhere. We see a shot of Sayaka reacting to a bright light on a stage. I bet this might be Homura doing a mocking rendition of when Madoka and Sayaka had their last conversation, before Madokami rewrote the laws of the universe. Remember, in that moment, they were watching Kamijo playing on his violin on stage? This looks like the same seats as that time. One of the most interesting shots is Sayaka in this odd room filled with what looks like glass-encased books and a large statue. This leads me to my second thing I think this movie is going to be about: communication, or the lack thereof. The first trailer we ever got for the movie starts with a magical telephone. It even comes from Homura's newt magic thing. A lot of dialogue clearly sounds like it's being spoken to someone through a speaker, like on the phone as well. In regards to this statue, at first I thought it was filled with like millipedes or something, but taking a closer look, I think it's filled with a coiled telephone cord. I think this movie is about Homura trying to sever Sayaka's connection to the other magical girls, maybe Nagisa too, and Sayaka trying to get into communication with Madoka or even Madokami somehow. On the topic of Sayaka, this shot in particular really stands out to me. The Latin on the mirror translates to dumb Venus. Dume is just literally, it's just dumb in Latin, and Venus as in like Aphrodite, Venus, goddess of beauty, so I have interpreted this to mean dumb beauty. The less popular cousin of Sleeping Beauty. No, but for real, I don't think this is meant to symbolize or allude to Homura, despite seeing her in the reflection. Homura is not dumb, and she knows she's not dumb, and while other people have called her beautiful, that's never really been a thing she really talks about or seems to care about. The mirror is also designed like a pearl in a shell. Again, the whole, Venus thing. You've all seen that painting. At least in Animal Crossing, right? The shell-pearl angle makes me think of Sayaka's mermaid themes, and Sayaka has, in fact, very famously called herself stupid so stupid. But again, I'm not sure if she really thinks or cares about whether or not she's beautiful. It's not really something she's talked about before, but that might play a part in why she was always too nervous to ask out Kamijo, though. That also might be the reason why her face is covered up with her new outfit. Maybe Homura herself puts those thoughts in Sayaka's head here. Or maybe this isn't Sayaka's mirror, and it doesn't have anything to do with her, and instead maybe it's some other girl's mirror. On that note, we have 3 new magical girls here. I think? Definitely 2, and maybe a 3rd? Filling out the spaces between the Holy Quintet on the color wheel, we have a new orange and green girls. I'm going to give them cute little nicknames to make it easier to refer to them, because I don't think their real names have been revealed yet. I'll call her Nectarine and her Lime. Do you get it? I wanted to stick with the food theme. There's an awful lot of food shots in these trailers. There's an awful lot of food imagery in Madoka Magica in general, too. Mami with her cakes, Nagisa with her cheese, Kyoko's whole deal. Anyways, Nectarine is shown spending a lot of time with Nagisa in these trailers. Because, real talk, I don't think they're going to be good guys. But I'm also not sure if they'll be bad guys either. They might be anti-heroes. I think there's 1,000 theories we could throw out there. Maybe they've been brought in by Homura to stop the others. But then there's other dialogue that implies Homura is confused by new magical girls' presence, so maybe not. At least I think it's Homura who's questioning them here. I'm not used to their Japanese voices. I'm used to their English voices, sorry. Maybe whatever's left of Madoka has sent them here to try to help. But how? And who are they? Madoka has picked Sayaka and Nagisa for reasons to be her attendants. Where would these two get their connections to Madoka from? They might just be outside forces, like other magical girls who are traveling into town and are looking to take over the territory. Looking at the poster, Nectarine is holding Kyubey in her lap, which makes me even more suspicious. Nectarine's design has some clear themes. Her hair is tied up with sewing needles and her skirt looks like a pincushion. Okay, I'm going to sound crazy. I have theorized about Candy too many times. Candy is a witch that I've discussed endlessly, and I have been adamant about trying to figure out who her magical girl could have been. The pigtails are reminiscent of the bunny ears, and the sewing theme might be alluding to the stuffed animal aspect of Candy, but no, I can't do this again. It can't just be Candy all the time. Lime is way harder to make out any noteworthy details for. We never get a really good look at her in her magical girl outfit in any of the trailers, and looking at the poster, I mean, it's just a dress. I think the most interesting details are their golden pink eyes. In Madoka Magica proper, all the girls' hair match their eye colors. The gold and pink instantly make me think about Madoka and Madoka. This is the main thing making me think that they might be working for her somehow. But also, literally, as I was recording this audio, I was thinking about it. There's a lot of theories about who Walpurgisnacht was, who was the magical girl who initiated Walpurgisnacht. That girl was supposed to be ancient, right? And it's also implied it's like coven. It's a collection of multiple girls all come together, not necessarily just one girl in particular. Maybe these girls are part of that coven? Maybe that's where they're coming from? It's called Walpurgisnacht Rising. Maybe they're a part of it. I don't know. Then there's that other odd, maybe new third girl. At first, a lot of folks, myself included, thought this was Madoka. She has a pink bow, arrow, bow and arrow, like Madoka, the weapon. But this girl really doesn't have Madoka's hair color. I'm not entirely convinced this girl is completely new though, so let me just hash out my thoughts. They're going to sound crazy. If/when Madoka returns to being Madoka, maybe this girl is the vessel left behind that once held onto her soul. Like this body we see here, that would be left behind, no longer Madoka, and so it would be its own new individual that used to be Madoka's human body. I admit, even for me, that seems like a bit too much of a stretch, but also this is Madoka Magica, and anything could happen, right? My other idea is that this girl is somehow a fusion of both Madoka and Homura. Like, maybe their god and devil forms will combine into one, and this girl will be whatever's left of what used to be Madoka and Homura, right? Does that make sense? Does any of this even make sense anymore? There has to be something important about this girl. She has a big special moment in the very first trailer we ever got. We just can't seem to get a very good look at her. We know this isn't Nectarine or Lime. Their outfits and hair lengths are completely different, but we never get a good shot of her face. Why not? Why keep her a mystery? Is this Madoka? Just with different hair for some reason? I don't know. There's a lot going on in these trailers, and I feel like I've only scratched the surface. So if you have any thoughts or theories, or if you've noticed anything I might have missed, let's discuss them in the comments. I'm going to be on pins and needles waiting for August, and then however long it takes to get the English subtitles, and then the English dub too, but until then, we got a lot of time to think and theorize. Let's have a happy magical girl May. Extra special shout out to my $50 patron, Just Some Major. They might not be a magical girl, but if they were, I bet they'd be really good at it. Shout out to my $10 patrons. You're all amazing. Andrew, Valhalla Knight, Chamomile, Classy Critic, Genital War Thunder, Jake, Amber, Scaring Crows, Messiah, Jacob, Ben's Sketchbook, Lucien, Wild Pilot, Bunkin Duncan, Hoodie Angel, Ranger, C1 Trooper, Ruby Rune, Lava Rose, Unspoken, Tyrene, Thanos, Pandemonium, Peter, Agiri, Eden, Silverheart Soul, Doki Poki, Zappy, Wolfgang, Philip, Lalaroni, Marie, MD, Nerf Ned, Video Gamer, Middle Coop, Vermithor, Card Creates, and Cat with a Knife. So yeah, what do you think? What do you think? I'm not usually one into theorizing because my ideas bounce all over the place. Like, you might have noticed I don't have one theory, I have like 7 potential theories. So, what are you thinking? Is there anything you missed? There's so much going on in the imagery here, and I don't know how much of it is like just metaphorical, you know, just Homura being weird, right? So, any and all thoughts and opinions, I can't wait. I'm so excited. I want to know what you're thinking. I want to know your thoughts, your theories about all of it. The girls, the magic, all the teeth, that Choco Taco, I really want that. Any and all thoughts and theories and opinions, I would love to see them. I hope you're excited for Magical Girl May, Oops All Madoka. I can't wait, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.